Good morning, class. This is Ishita ma'am, and I'm again back with your teaching learning video. So, I guess you are all doing well at home and doing all your works on time and using your time in a productive way. So, the worksheets which are being provided, I guess you are downloading that and solving them as well. Still, if you have any problem in answering any of the questions, you can ask me in the comment section, okay? Or you can, personally send a message so that I can answer to that very question. So today, after the grammar and writing lessons, again I'm back with the second chapter of your Beehive book. The second chapter is The Sound of Music by Deborah Cowley. And today I'm going to introduce you with the chapter. Okay. And let's see gradually how much we can cover it up by today. So, The Sound of Music by Deborah Cowley. So before we move on with the text, let us know something about the author here. Now, this is Deborah Mason Cowley. Okay, so now to know about her, see, these are some of the details which you'll get in any of the book. So, she was born in India and grew up in Toronto, graduated in English from the University of Western Ontario, and moved to Ottawa for a job with the Unitarian Service Committee. She is an Ottawa-based writer and broadcaster. I guess you know what a writer is, but then the new term which is here is broadcaster. Okay, a broadcaster is one who gives talks or takes part in interviews and discussions on radio or television program. Okay. Now, she has written 100 articles for different editions of the Reader's Digest, many of which have been translated into dozens of languages. Reader's Digest, I guess it's a common book for everyone. You are quite acquainted with this term or with the name of this book. So, she is the one who has written about 100 articles on this. Okay. Now, subsequent postings to London and Brussels gave Deborah the opportunity to write articles for the British and international editions of Reader's Digest. She worked as a freelance reporter for CBC Radio and CBC Television in London and Cairo, Egypt. Now, CBC, this very term is Canadian Broadcasting Centre, which is there located in Toronto. Okay, so there she was one who was a freelance reporter. You know what freelance is? When you do something not exactly or being there at the head office or at the office, but doing it out of your own freelancing. You'll be doing the work in private or personal and giving a part of this radio and television, which she has also done. Now, she is the author of Cairo, a Practical Guide, which is now in its 17th edition. Okay, this is quite very popular and it has came out with its 17th edition. Now, another famous work which she has done with her husband is One Woman's Journey, a portrait of Pauline Venue. So this is something about Deborah Cowley. So there's no harm in learning more. So I guess I could help you out with some of the information about the authoress here. Okay. Now I'll be moving with the chapter. Now look at this person. Who is she, or whatever its problem or what are her achievements, will gradually know. But just before I want to start the chapter, it's very necessary that you know something about this lady. Okay, just before I go into the detailed study of the chapter with reading and explanation, I'll try to introduce the lady and some of her achievements and some pieces of her life with you. So here the lady, who is a multi-percussionist who can play 100 instruments with perfection. A multi-percussionist. Now, who is a percussionist? A player of a percussion instrument, especially in an orchestra. Now the question comes that what is percussion? Now percussion is any of the musical instrument that you play by hitting them with your hand or an object such as stick. So any of those instruments which I play or which anyone can play by hitting it with hand or any sort of stick, those are called the percussion. So some of its examples, see here, a percussionist plays the instruments of, this is the percussion family. Here you have the different sort of percussion instruments like you think of or you can see here xylophone, drum, then you have tambourine, you have snare drum, you have cymbal, etc. Okay, these are the different instruments that you have here. Okay, so a percussionist is the one who plays this kind of instruments. So the picture of the lady which I showed you is quite familiar or is well known for this very basic skill. So from this you can have the idea that this is the lady who is very musically alert, or the lady should be the one who is part of this musical world. Of course, you are right. So here I make you all introduced to Dame Evelyn Elizabeth Anne Glynn. Okay, the picture I showed you there is of hers. So this is Dame Evelyn Elizabeth Anne Glynn. She is born in 19th July 1965. Okay, she's still alive among us. So there's no thought of no point of thinking that ma'am only mentioned the date of birth and like that. Okay, so what was she famous for, or what is she famous for? She performed internationally with a wide variety of orchestras and contemporary musicians. So not only was she a soloist or a solo performer, but she is the one who is part of a wide variety of orchestras and contemporary musicians. Okay, as I showed you in the last to last slide, that she is the one who could play 100 instruments. Okay, so but then if I recap the slides here, see, a multi-percussionist who can play 100 instruments with perfection. But I have kept the sentence incomplete, with perfection and some dots after that. So here, I guess it's clear to you that ma'am has not completed the full sentence. So the part here next will be in your next slide. Or so contemporary musicians, it's all clear. Now see the different achievements which Evelyn Glynn has made in her life. There are many. I have only mentioned the best out of all those. So she has backed herself with the Royal Philharmonic Society's Best Soloist of the Year in 1991. She is the Best Chamber Music Performance in the Grammy Awards of 1989. She has achieved the Sabian Lifetime Achievement Award in 2006, the Polar Music Prize in the year 2015, and the Best Classical Instrument Solo in the Grammy Awards 2014, and many more. So these are her achievements, okay, which is still going on. But there's one thing which would bring us, or rather somebody who is getting introduced to this lady for the first time, her limitations of life. Okay, now what is that? Evelyn Glynn, the Scottish virtuoso, listens to sound without hearing it. I repeat the sentence again. She listens to sound without hearing it. I'm on one side saying that she is listening, but at the same time, she cannot hear or she doesn't hear. Why is it? Because she is a deaf girl. Okay, now a deaf lady. So she could listen to sound without hearing it. So imagine about the lady who has bagged so many of the achievement awards, somebody who can play 100 instruments, somebody who is just a bright star in the world of music, someone who has done playing off in the orchestral team is the one who cannot hear. Why so? Because her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. Okay, now what had happened? The deafness or her deafness was first noticed at the age of 8, and when she was 11, it was all very prominent. Okay, so this is Evelyn Glennie. Probably the picture is of her of 11 or 12 years age. So what has happened? That her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. There was a problem, and with the gradual nerve damage, what has harmed? Her ability to listen to things. Okay, so what had happened? It was first noticed at the age of 8. When we go through the chapter in detail, I'll explain the lines where it is, or we come to know that at the age of 8, the mother says, Evelyn Glennie's mother says that she was about to play a piano. Okay. And then when her name was called, she was not moving or she did not respond. And later the mother realized that she did not hear that her name was called. And it became more prominent when she was 11 years old. So first it was noticed at the age of 8, and then at the age of 11 it was all very prominent. It was clearly noted. Then the teachers and the principal of the school asked that she needs a special treatment and a special care is needed for her because the school cannot continue with her way of studies. Okay, so she must be moved out of the school. So think of this very girl who was not allowed to be part of the school because of her disability. But later on, this girl proved to be a world famous icon. She was the one who was part of the orchestral music, and she was the one who could do the playing of the 100 musical instruments. Okay, so what had happened? So what are the ways, or how did Evelyn Glennie could make up doing this? A very fine line has been told about her. God may have taken her hearing, but He has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. This is very true, students. You know, anyone who is impaired with any of these things, okay, of course, is blessed up with other abilities. If you have one disability there, of course, you'll be having some very good part or very good ability on the other hand. So she also was blessed with these things. What was that? It is that what we hear she feels far more deeply than any of us. We can hear music, but she used to feel that. We can hear to the sounds of the music, but she felt the music to be poured in her body parts. But who was the one who brought the change in her life? What was the thing, or what were the keywords which has helped Evelyn Glennie to be there bright and shining? So these all will come to know once we start with the reading and the explanation of the text. So in my next video, I'll be starting with the chapter, and before that, I'll ask everyone to please download the copy of this chapter, the PDF file. Of course, you'll get it in the NCERT website, and have a reading on it. Okay, just read the chapter so that once I explain it, it will be all very helpful for you. Because if the reading and the explanation is done, there's no point of mugging up question answers once you're writing them. Okay, so just go through download the text, go through it, and in my next video, I'll start with the reading and explanation of the text. Okay, class? So please keep a watch in the school website, follow the YouTube links, and if you have any problem, please give me there in the comment section. Okay, so till then, thank you and have a nice day ahead.